So we start with a piece of card measuring 12 inches by 3 inches. And we find the center point at 6 inches and mark it, then measure 2 inches from the top on both sides. Then we cut the card to create a peaked shape. Then we're going to trace that shape onto a piece of decorative scrapbook paper and then cut that out also. We're going to punch some holes on both ends of the card, and it's probably a really good idea to punch the scrapbook paper at this point too. To create some texture onto the background, I'm using a piece from Gina's Texture Fiesta sheets and applying a liberal layer of golden gel medium. I'm spreading it out with a piece of folded cardstock. If you want to preserve your texture sheets to use again and again, it's a good idea to coat them with something like marine varnish. So when that background has dried, I start to layer pieces on top of it. And I'm using Gina's Feathery Flourishes set. And when I'm placing them, I'm just considering where those holes are. I don't want to cover them up. Next, I'm applying a Tudor rose and then some garden fairies. So take your time and fuss about until everything looks just right. Add a few dragons and then some more flourishes on top of that. Now apply some white acrylic paint. If you have gesso on hand, you can use gesso. If all you have is White House paint, go ahead and use that. I have used White House paint in my crafting. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure that you get into all those little nooks and crevices. While your piece is still wet, you'll want to bend it a little bit and you'll be able to see where you need to add a little bit of extra paint. But this also eases the paper fibers, allowing you to be able to wear the crown later on, creating that sort of rounded shape. And we want a nice finished back, so let's paint that white also. And once the paint has dried, we can begin adding color. I'm using some Color Art Silks acrylic glazes. This is a Guatemalan green. And then I'm going to apply some Stargazer. So next I splash on some Twinkling H2O's Shimmering Watercolors. That's from Color Art also. Then I'm going to spritz with a little bit of water and I'm going to dab the excess. And I'm just working in layers, adding color, adding water, smushing it about. Then using my finger, I'm applying some Emperor's Gold for a little bit of shimmer and glistening. I'm just rubbing it on some edges here and there. So before finishing up the front, I want to clean up the back a little bit, and I'm applying a layer of white glue. I'm just spreading it out with a piece of card, making a nice, even, thin layer, and then I'm affixing the scrapbooking paper that I cut earlier. Trimming off any excess on the edges, and then focusing on the front again. So I'm applying a little bit of white glue to the upper edges of some of my shapes, and I'm going to sprinkle on just a tiny bit of white glitter. And I don't want to add too much glitter to this project because it is going on someone's head, and if anything comes loose, it's going to end up in their hair. And even though I don't mind having glitter in my hair all day long, some people may not appreciate glitter as much as I do. Finally, I am adding some beautiful paper flowers from Petaloo. These are from their Botanica collection, and they come in all sorts of colors. So if you're not fussy on blue, they have every color imaginable. And you can see a lot of my time is just fiddling about and seeing where something should go and how it looks. And finally, a couple of really cute, colorful butterflies. Give it a bit of a bend again. And then you'll want to add a couple of really good lengths of ribbon, or whatever you want to use to tie your crown on your head. It's a good idea to wrap the crown around something while it dries, so like a pot or a bowl, and it'll help it to retain that rounded shape.